Uh,
Take my meds. You got the hate and the jealousy. This ain't no Kikos, don't copy me. Hating on me, bitch, you can't even read. I'm popping my pussy when I hit the category. It take a hoe to birth a hoe, your mama hoe and you a bitch. These hoes can't address me. Bank account, that's my bestie. Cartier is caressing. Boss solid undressing. No, you can't get a shout out. I'm surprised you're allowed out. Don't make me get loud now. Ate her up like a chow down. Depressed. I'm not, I take my meds. That man is in distress. He ain't getting no head. I said them hoes depressed. I'm not, I take my meds. I beat that bitch to death. JK, I take my meds. You got the hate and the jealousy. This ain't no Kikos, don't copy me. Hating on me that you can't even read. I'm popping my pussy when I hit the category.
Yeah, Jesus, it's a level 1 stretch. That one right there is, I think it landed on the rock. But what's really odd is that it felt parallel to the ground, didn't it? Like, I mean, there's no mark. Well, there's a little scratch here. Yeah, so apparently dropping your switch to from about 4 feet, not a good thing.
interesting.
Not a good thing. Who's messaging me?
Don't do that. Don't drop your switch too. Well, there is no survival zone in a nuclear explosion. Daily song. Too fat to fit. Really broken elevator. Okay. Oh.
From almost breaking an elevator.
Nope, 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 nope.
To cutting her finger and the panic that followed.
For the sake of making it to Dr. Now's office tomorrow.
Oh, God.
Here's how Crystal Rollins Wade made a simple elevator ride a life or death challenge. Appearing in Season 9, Episode 13 of the show, and weighing over 611 pounds, Crystal's weight had become a bottleneck for her health and lifestyle. As a result of her body getting to the state of morbid obesity, Crystal had also developed several other complications that hindered her path even further.
Because my weight has put so much pressure on my lungs. My lungs just can't handle my body anymore.
She had let her body stretch to the point of no return, because of which she had to eventually spend most of her days in bed, disconnected from real life, and even becoming dependent on an external source of breathing along the way.
Just even breathing is a struggle, and I have to have oxygen on.
However, her condition was only worsening with time because of her laziness and the lack of effort she put into everything that she did.
Because if I lay back, the pressure from my weight will suffocate me.
But her lungs weren't the only thing stopping
I
her
don't like
from
to
living
see
a normal
that.
life.
My legs swell. Sometimes they like water.
Not a fan
Some
of
days I
that.
just want to just stay there and not move. It's hard to get out of bed sometimes.
This disability made her increasingly reliant on
that's
her
not
teenage daughters, especially now that she needed help with even the most basic tasks, even for washing and cleaning herself, for which she mostly involved her daughters.
Ivriana has to help me get up. She, of course, is my firstborn.
Despite it all, however, one thing she was not ready to leave, despite her body reaching this state, was her gluttonous habits, which put her in this condition.
So I can't wait too long to sit down because my legs will start to give out really soon. and all I really want to do is eat.
Even worse was how she made her daughters work with her and participate in making unhealthy meals to fuel this addiction.
And I rely on Ivriana and Tatiana to do most of the cooking for me.
At this point, her daughters, Ivoriana and Tatiana, had become her full-time caretakers, and them being so young only meant that they were being forced to do something kids their age weren't supposed to do.
Cooking with my girls is something special to me. Even though I know food is what caused me to be like this,
Viewers were justifiably critical of the way she treated both of her daughters, with one saying, "It's child abuse. Your young children should not have to be your caregiver. Who takes care of them? Where's the nurturing?" And,
This is
"Your
true.
kids have no life. She's actually emotionally abusing them." It was apparent at this point that she wasn't willing to
Yeah,
make any
that's
efforts on
true.
her own, especially
Also
considering
true.
that she put food over her own health and family.
I eat all day long because I'm always hungry and I always want to eat. And people don't understand.
Star Wars Rebels writer admitted making Sabine a Jedi. He was a Jedi? Why was she a Jedi? I don't remember that. Is that in Ahsoka?
They think, oh, well, if you just stop eating, you'll lose weight. Or you did that to yourself. It's like, yeah, I did do it to myself. I know I did. Nobody put a gun to my head to make me eat. I ate the food, I gained the weight. Yes, it's my fault. But that doesn't mean I chose this.
Weird.
It's an addiction, it's a disease.
To add more to it, she tried to frame herself as the victim, claiming to be helpless regarding her insane eating habits. And this helplessness kept setting her up for moments where her size created situations no one expected.
People don't understand the struggle of it. And I can't even take care of myself. I have my 2 daughters, my mother, and my younger brother, who live nearby to help take care of me. Who would want to live like this?
This made the viewers criticize her for her bad parenting. "I feel like if you could sit there and cook, you can watch a movie, you can paint at a bed desk, you can do a puzzle, you can do a lot of things." She said eating's the only thing they can do together, but even sitting down, there's a lot of things they can do, even sitting down. Also, this dynamic only made her more miserable, considering her body and mind
Thought
were
that was a
worsening
bug.
with her food intake. But her
Not
lack
gonna
of
lie,
self-discipline
thought that was a
made
bug.
things even harder
Little
for
bit.
her. Not only that, but her body growing out of control was setting her up for a number of complications she was about to suffer in the near future.
And so every day I become more miserable. So food is my only escape. It's my only joy, and outside of my daughters, it's the only reason why I get up.
And this further caused her to neglect her family as well as her responsibilities even more, something she admitted to herself.
So food also means time with them. But I do feel guilty about what I eat and what it does to my family. My only escape. I know they don't judge me. My children and my family understand the full struggle. My kids live it with me every
Not
day,
great.
but they shouldn't be having to
Not
do
great.
any of this. And I feel bad about that because this isn't the life that I wanted for my girls.
People most affected by this habit were her daughters, because now they were being fed the same unhealthy and fatty meals that had led her up to this point. However, her lack of discipline and unwillingness to change weren't the only reason she turned out this way, as she had a long trail of events that
But it
acted
does
as a
suck,
precedent to her current situation.
Times were always tough for my family. My mom was a single mother. She was 21 when she had me. So she and I lived with my grandma and my great-grandma. It was the 4 of us all in one house. And my mom and my grandma worked to provide for us.
Due to her mother's work, however, she was neglected most of her childhood.
I didn't get to see my mom a lot because she was working graveyard shifts at a donut store. And she slept most of the day because of that. So I was always craving her attention. I was around 5 or 6 then, and my mom would make it a point to eat with me whenever she could. So that became our thing, eating together. Whether I already ate or not, I would still want whatever she was eating because I wanted to eat with my mom, you know?
This connection eventually turned to her and her mother bonding over food instead of having a normal connection with each other, which eventually led to her ballooning up to
Okay.
over 80 pounds by the time she was 7. However, she had to make other adjustments at this young age too, making it incredibly hard for her as a child.
When I was 8, my mom started dating someone. And a year later, when I was 9 years old, my mom got married and we moved to another house with my stepdad and his kids.
And this adjustment only turned into something far worse that affected her childhood and eventually grew to become the addiction that would result in something totally out of control.
I was molested by a family member, and the horror of being molested was more than what I could deal with. And so that was one of the hardest times in my life. And through it, I just ate constantly. Whatever I could get and however much I could get, I ate it nonstop.
Stay of the year.
By the time she was
Let's
12,
go.
her weight had reached a shocking number.
And by the time I was 12, I got to about 200 pounds.
However, instead of being comforted by her family, they made her feel even lonelier.
I told my mom and I told my grandma, but nobody else knew. And I felt like my mom made me hide it. So after that, I didn't feel safe in my own home.
By this time, however, her emotional dependency on food had only
Ridiculous.
grown worse.
My only comfort through it all was eating to forget the pain I was in. And by the time I started high school when I was 14, I was around 300 pounds.
This trauma had made her hate men, as she could never look at them the same way. This only made Crystal's mental health go worse.
And food had become my best friend at that point. So all through high school, I just ate.
Never slowing down on her food, by the time she graduated, she was already clocking in at a staggering 420 pounds. That's when Crystal started dating one of her coworkers, even getting into a decently long relationship with him and moving in with him for a few years. However, doing this made her life even worse, as while she thought she had finally gotten the love she needed to get through,
For a while, my boyfriend started drinking. And then he started to get violent when he drank.
things only got worse from there, as her boyfriend soon turned to abuse, even almost beating her to death. This made Crystal's life even worse, as once again, she found food as the only way to get her through this, eventually gaining over 500 pounds at just 23. However, their relationship finally ended soon after, which urged her to move back to California. Still, Crystal decided to give it all another chance.
When I was 25, I met the girls' dad, and we got together.
This relationship was looking promising, as Crystal eventually moved in with him after having their kids. However, things started to go south pretty fast.
Unlike my other relationship, things were good in the beginning, but he turned out to be more abusive than my previous boyfriends. But things were fine up until I had my first daughter. I had her within a year of us getting together. And that's when he started to get more aggressive with me.
But the
Oh,
abuse
great.
wouldn't stop. Rather, it would only get worse.
He'd hit harder and harder each time. And then he'd beat me for longer. And then one day, he was literally beating me to death. And thankfully, he was able to get the front door open. And my daughter ran out the front door. And she was screaming, "No, Daddy, no."
This was the final straw for Crystal, and she finally decided to leave him for the sake of herself and her daughters.
And I just hopped in the car and drove up to my brother and my mom's house. And we ended up going to the police, and charges were pressed. He only went to jail for a few weeks, but we did manage to get a restraining
Only
order
for
for
a
like
few
5
weeks.
years.
Yeah.
And things would
Hey,
start to
alright.
look better for Crystal
Yeah.
after shifting to her mom's
Beautiful
house.
kitty.
But I was 29 when that happened, and I stayed with my mom
Are you
and with
okay,
my brother
kitty?
for a little bit until I get a place of my own. They helped me a lot, and I feel like that time also helped me.
However, even in such a state, Crystal wanted to be a good mother, but it was apparent
Good.
she was failing
being
in doing
good.
so. Only being able to help while sitting down, Crystal couldn't play the part of the mother she wanted to be.
So they have to do a lot more than most kids. And what I wish is I could just let them be kids.
Despite knowing she was ruining her daughter's life, she continued to eat way more than
You
she
okay,
should,
kitty?
which made her condition worse day by day, bloating to the extent that it pushed the limits of anything around her.
I'm probably gonna have to have more than that. I'm gonna have to have more than that on there. I guess because the only thing I know that can help me when it gets bad is food.
Her condition made her feel like a burden to her family, and she knew even her daughters wanted her to
Ooh,
change,
there's a new
only
kid
they
bug
were too
out.
afraid to say it.
Because of how bad it's getting, my body's starting to break down more than I've ever felt it. So I know it's getting to a bad place for me.
That's when she realized
Oh,
it was finally
Ryan.
time to get the help she desperately needed.
I'm gonna lose my life. So I'm ready to take a chance and do whatever it takes.
However, considering her condition, she could not cover this journey alone, for which her brother Josh stepped in to take responsibility. It was time for Crystal and her family to get ready to leave, and it was the start of a new opportunity for Crystal to finally be able to change her life for the better. Josh also loaded up the van, ready to drive halfway across the country to save her life. However, just as everything was going good, Crystal ruined the moment with her infuriating behavior.
Taking too long. I wanted to be gone already. And we're not.
I mean, you knew, like, this was going on.
Yes, but I also had a whole different plan of action than this.
Enraged at this, some people said, Crystal blames everything on everybody else. Despite it all, Crystal was adamant to make things work for her for the sake of her daughter's well-being. The journey was hard for her, and when they finally arrived, she was wrecked and tired.
It's not another door.
Of course not. Son of a skit.
At the hotel, they encountered yet another obstacle in their journey when
We
they got
love
to know something they
Fortnite.
had
We
not expected.
love Fortnite.
Everyone point and laugh at Peanut. He has to play Fortnite tomorrow for a hashtag ad.
Point and laugh
Yeah,
at
good
Cloaksy.
luck
He
not
played
being able to
Fortnite for
switch your
10
camera
years,
over.
and they don't even want to pay him to come back and play it.
Holy shit, dude, that's fucked up.
Godspeed, good luck, and have fun tonight.
You too.
You are on top of the world and arguably the greatest streamer to ever live.
Give me the pop. You fooling.
Not.
Ban that motherfucker. Ban that motherfucker right now. Get his ass out of here. His wife is an almond. I would never date an almond. Yeah, you fucking mind. Yeah, you fucking mind. I hate the way they talk. I hate the way they
The
walk.
room wasn't supposed to be on the third floor. I don't do third floors. I can't at my size, and if I try,
Crystal was well aware of the consequences of her trying to alight 3 floors to get to her room.
it could end very badly. With me either hurt, stuck, or even both.
But there was another reason why it was all about to get a lot worse than it should have in normal circumstances.
And I have a fear of elevators. So I'm worried, very worried, to be doing this.
Crystal was not very enthusiastic about elevators, considering she was already exhausted from the journey and couldn't bear any more pain. As her daughter and Josh went near the elevator, Crystal froze in fear of not being able to fit. However, she finally found the motivation to get up despite her fears. It was a small moment of progress for once.
Not a
It looked
fan.
like things might actually
Not a
go right.
fan.
But just when everything started to go smoothly, Crystal suddenly panicked and backed up, slamming her full weight into the wheelchair, realizing that she had almost broken the elevator.
Please put me downstairs. Please put me downstairs.
Even to the point of begging that they don't put her
Ridiculous.
back in there. She started to resist and refused to use the elevator. That moment showed just how helpless and dependent she had really become, but things quickly took another strange turn.
How did that happen?
The elevator dropped down when I stepped in it.
As it turned out, Crystal had injured her finger badly by stepping foot into the elevator and the elevator going down due to her weight. This was a surprising turn of events, and while her daughters tried to stay calm, the stress of the situation only added to the chaos. Once again, what was supposed to be a simple moment turned into a full-blown crisis. The elevator instance greatly affected Crystal, and she looked too traumatized to try and work up a solution again. And just like that, they had to leave it all as is and move on without trying to get on the elevator again, with Crystal now demanding something else.
I think I might need to go to the hospital. I try to force myself through the door. I think I might need to go to the hospital. I think I might have just... As I stepped in the elevator, it dropped down.
Viewers, mad at her being so dependent and throwing a tantrum every chance she got, said, "Hospital cut for a finger? What a burden." This showed how far her health had fallen, and she didn't even need to move much to feel pain. Her entire body was in constant distress from years of neglect.
The rest of my body hurts right now. I don't know which pain to focus on. I can bend it so it's not broken, but I'm so sorry.
Meanwhile, Crystal kept talking about how hard things were for her, without realizing how much harder she was making life for everyone else. After this failed attempt at getting into the elevator, Crystal continued to rant about her struggles. Viewers enraged at this said, "She's on a big pity party. No one to blame but herself. 100% selfish." By the end, everyone looked completely spent. Crystal had once again turned a simple situation into a scene of chaos and exhaustion, with some viewers sympathizing with her daughter's condition, saying, "Her poor daughters look so frazzled and traumatized. So sad they have to deal with this." Finally reaching the hotel room, Crystal kept ranting about her pain, her breathing, her legs, anything to take the attention off her guilt. Josh and her daughter sat there, drained and quiet. They'd been through a full day of travel, but Crystal's complaints didn't stop.
You okay? No, I'm not. I can't get up here. I'm gonna have to sleep in the wheelchair.
The night took another turn when she tried to get on her bed. Something so simple turned into another hassle. Every movement sent waves of pain through her body. Her arms were shaking while her legs couldn't hold her up.
A place to sleep. I still gotta get the other half of my body up here.
She barely managed to get half her body into the bed before collapsing again, breathing heavy, frustrated, and on the verge of tears. Finally, able to get up by putting her feet on the wheelchair, it shows how much help she needed just to simply lie down.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not.
At that moment, she broke down because of her inability to do something as simple as that.
Brianna, you're gonna have to push your leg up and over. You're gonna have to pick up her leg and put it up there. You ready?
You guys think you can get this stuff?
However, she still needed to get up despite needing someone's help. Something she, although was embarrassed about, knew needed to be done. The next morning, anxiety hit her hard when it was finally time to meet Dr. Now, who was the only man she believed could save her life. In considering the previous night's incident, the only man who could help her live like a normal person. But meeting Dr. Now meant confronting how far things had spiraled into situations that she physically couldn't control.
So that's the only thing I don't want to find out right now. But I think I'm around 600.
However, her thoughts about being under 600 pounds would soon vanish when she stepped on the scale. Even though it was higher than she thought, Crystal seemed optimistic about finally being able to meet Dr. Now. But what made it worse was when Dr. Now revealed Crystal's BMI.
4'11", so that puts your BMI at 123.
Ever recorded on the show, the number itself was terrifying, but her issues didn't end there. Dr. Now asked if she had ever considered being on a diet before.
At one point, I was trying a diet the hospital put me on, but it didn't stick very well.
Which Crystal didn't follow for a reason she can't even explain. However, it was apparent that she wasn't smart enough to stop her addiction.
Today, after 39 years,
I'm almost 40 and I need a change. I need to be there for my kids. My kids are getting ready to go into high school. I want to be able to watch my kids graduate. I want to eventually see them get married. I want to be there.
okay.
It seemed Crystal was determined to lose weight and follow the diet Dr. Now gave her and finally stop her gluttonous habits. However, before that, Dr. Now had to make sure she didn't have any long-term issues.
And you're gonna have to change your eating habit, and that's gonna be up to you to understand what to do, what not to do. Okay?
Okay.
After seeing a determined Crystal, he was ready to set a diet plan for her recovery.
Basically, you're gonna
baby.
eat it 3 times a day and around 400 calories per meal.
Okay.
So no more than 200 calories in one day, and make sure no snacking between meals. There'll be no carb on your diet, which means no bread, no
Oh shit.
pasta.
My best friend's away.
The focus is going to be on protein, okay?
Okay.
And then, on top of that, I'm going to give you a copy of my book that has exercise.
Allowing her to eat just 1,200 calories in a day and forbade her from eating unhealthy food. However, just following a diet plan wasn't enough for Crystal's condition.
I want to start doing those exercise 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening.
Okay.
Okay?
Giving her assurance that she'll lose 50 pounds within a month if she does what he said, but knowing she hasn't done this before, he gave her the time of 2 months to lose 60 pounds.
And if you get to that goal and get off the oxygen,
Seems
out of food for weight loss surgery.
reasonable.
And the only way for that to happen was for her to lose weight. However, what Dr. Now mentioned next was honestly embarrassing for Crystal.
That your hygiene seems to be an issue too. And as you wait, it's very easy to get infections. It can become life-threatening if you don't try to bathe consistently. So what are you doing with your personal hygiene?
Hearing of this embarrassing fact, a viewer said, "I don't remember Dr. Now ever telling someone they stink. I'd be mortified." With Crystal, her
Means
issues
that
seemed
she
never-ending. It
probably
wasn't just her
does.
weight and high BMI, but many other issues had to be fixed.
Body odor. So she doesn't seem concerned about taking care of herself. And she has a severe childhood trauma that she seems to have avoided dealing with for most of her life.
Dr. Now had realized that Crystal's way of dealing with things was to either neglect or avoid them entirely. With the appointment over, it was now up to Crystal whether she followed his advice or not. But for the sake of mental and emotional well-being, she needed therapy.
I'm here to see the therapist that Dr. Now said he wanted me to go to.
Are you Crystal?
Hi.
Hi, Crystal. I'm Dr. Paradise.
Hi, how you doing?
Come on in.
All right. Because I'm willing to do it if it's something he thinks that I need to do for his program.
What were you like as an elementary school kid?
I was a good kid.
Good at school?
Yeah, I was good.
Friends?
Kind of blocked that era. I don't really remember too much. There's a few things, but not too many.
Okay, so tell me more about that.
Crystal's trauma, rooted deep in her childhood, was not to be easily opened up, but she slowly started getting to the point of her trauma.
Is it drama with the family members that you're worried about?
Yeah, but apparently it's not over with.
So let's talk about it anonymously. You don't have to name names. Who are you protecting, Crystal?
My brother.
Just
I'm protecting my brother's feelings. Like, I don't want him to have animosity against somebody else.
Crystal was not ready to share this trauma with her brother, but after some push by Dr. Paradise, she finally revealed what happened to her as a kid.
Dr.
I was
Paradise.
8 when it started.
Did you say anything about it at the time?
No, not at
ridiculous
first, because I was
name.
kind of scared. And I didn't really understand the whole situation until I got a little bit older. That was bad.
With Dr. Paradise recommending that Crystal come with her brother to finally let it all out. Even though Crystal seemed unsure about this, she had no other choice.
About what happened to me when I was younger. I know he's wondering what's going on and what this is about, because I only told him that. It's about something important that's gonna help me.
Unsure, Josh follows her, while both he and Crystal are still nervous to share this.
First of all, he doesn't know about this stuff.
Nope.
I think you're really used to holding stuff in, mostly to protect other people.
However, avoiding her problems had only made her life worse, and it was now time she told Josh everything.
With Crystal, is her being honest about things that have happened to her, so she's protecting you from some news.
Nervous but determined, she gathered the courage to tell Josh everything, and what Josh heard next was honestly something he wasn't expecting.
Your dad molested me for a very long time.
I didn't know about that.
I know you didn't know about any of that.
Josh was in shock. His sister had carried this secret her entire life. The sister whom he thought he had grown up protecting had been carrying this weight alone for decades. What made it worse was Crystal's mom knew about this and failed to protect her daughter despite this happening to her.
I think you understand her better now, don't you?
Yeah.
It's a lot of weight to carry those kind of secrets.
He didn't know what to say, but a part of him was relieved she finally let it out. The truth had finally been spoken, and for the first time, they both felt a little lighter, making sure they don't hide anything from each other again. Their session with Dr. Paradise ended on a hopeful note, the siblings closer than they'd been in years.
I was so scared coming here to do this. But now that I did it and we talked, I'm glad, because I feel like it's actually brought me closer to my brother. So I'm happy I did this.
With that weight off her shoulders, Crystal was ready to focus on the next step, her long-awaited weight loss journey.
For the past month, I've been working to follow Dr. Now's diet, and I think I've been doing well with it.
However, her oxygen tank still made things hard, every breath feeling heavier than it should have been. But this time, Crystal pushed through it, determined to show Dr. Now that she was
Hope she
finally
gets
serious.
better.
For once, it felt like she was doing everything right, as she was moving a little more each day and trying not to give in to cravings. Everything seemed to be going well, but the truth was to be revealed at her next check-in.
Today, I'm going back to see Dr. Now to see how I've done. And I'm nervous. But I feel good too, because I know I've made a lot of changes.
Crystal was optimistic, and it seemed like she had really gotten better. With her last weight being 611 pounds, she was hoping to get to at least 551 pounds. But Crystal's optimism was short-lived, as she had only lost 9 pounds in 2 months, which wasn't even close to her initial goal. With Crystal nervous whether Dr.
that's
Now
not
thought
good.
she was committed or not, it was finally time for their second
Not the
confrontation.
It
best.
looked like you lost some weight, but that much. So why is that?
I'm not sure.
Dr. Now didn't buy it. He told her straight she wasn't eating the right food, and her BMI was still dangerously high. Crystal refusing to acknowledge that she had not been following the diet as she should have, she could only give lame answers, saying she wasn't sure.
It was hard, but I do think it helped me in a lot of ways. So I think it was good.
Okay? Because that's going to be important for your emotional well-being and to help you in the long run.
However, Crystal was still stuck at her initial goal of losing 60 pounds in 2 months and getting off her oxygen. By the end of the day, Crystal was left heartbroken, still disappointed for not being approved for surgery and not being able to turn her life around. The disappointment hung heavy in the air. She had expected a breakthrough, maybe even praise from Dr. Now, but all she got was another reminder of how far she still had to go.
Better this
You
time.
lost 9 pounds in 2
To
months.
work harder and cut back more
Come on.
until I have the progress that I need.
Just when it seemed like reality had finally hit her, Crystal slipped back into old habits.
Okay, let me get 2 sausage burritos, bacon, 2 hash browns, a sausage biscuit. Let me get a fruit and maple oatmeal, please.
The order was huge, showing she hadn't learned from her past mistakes. Still not serious
Mean
about her
oatmeal
diet, she
is
made
good,
excuses while
though.
Josh did his best to stay
I
patient.
guess.
However, after she met with Dr. Now, it was finally time for Crystal to move into her new apartment and start anew. And seeing her family work so hard all for her made Crystal want to work harder towards her goal, and also because she now had a place to focus better on her goals.
All right, thank you. These next few months are not going to be easy because of that. But I'm ready to do it and work my hardest.
Crystal, ready to give her kids a better life,
Alexa,
went on
turn
with her
on the
new
lights.
diet. And soon it was time for her third appointment. With Josh balancing work and the girls missing school, the entire family felt stuck caring for her.
And he gave me an extra month. But he also made my weight loss goal 90 pounds instead of 60 this time. So I'm really nervous about that.
Viewers mad at Crystal for putting her daughters through this said her
my God.
12-year-old should not be sitting in the doctor's office hearing a lot of this. She's gonna be so traumatized. While another said
Not the
she's not
best.
raising her kids. They're looking after her. She needed to lose 90 pounds to reach her goal, and failure wasn't an option. The pressure weighed heavier than her own body.
Lost 90 pounds to get down to 5'11", which is a lot. But I'm really hoping I did it.
Your weight is 564. You've lost 38 pounds.
Although she had made better progress this time by losing over 38 pounds, with her total
Not bad.
loss since this journey now being 47 pounds. Crystal had thinned down to 564 pounds, but she was still far away from the
Thinned
original
down.
90-pound goal that Dr. Now had set for her.
I only lost 9 pounds the first time. So this is like 4 times that. So I did better, but it's still not enough. And I think that's all that's gonna matter to Dr. Now.
Disappointed but determined, Crystal braced herself for another confrontation with Dr. Now.
All right, Crystal, you lost 38 pounds over the last 3 months, huh?
Yes, sir, I sure did.
Which is improvement, but barely 1/3 of what you should have lost.
Dr. Now asked what had changed this time, and Crystal insisted she'd followed his advice, eating less and sticking to the diet. However, he still wasn't fully convinced that that was the case, as she only seemed to have lost 13 pounds a month, whereas she should have lost 30, and it was time for Crystal to make a decision.
If you did the diet, you would have easily lost 50 pounds a month. So your goal shouldn't be that hard to do if you're really following the diet I gave you. So if you don't get to your goal and start losing 30 pounds a month by the next visit, we may need to admit you to the hospital and put you on a controlled diet to do that for you.
Dr. Now had given her one final chance to prove herself, but this time the bar was higher. She needed to lose 60 pounds over the next 2 months to reach her goal, and failure wasn't an
60
option.
pounds
Pressure
over
weighed
2
heavily
months.
than her own body.
Doable.
Diet and don't eat when you're upset or stressed or having anxiety. and then keep
Doable.
doing your therapy.
Crystal walked out quieter than usual and nervous, but finally aware of how serious things had become. Meanwhile, Dr. Now was happy about her little progress, but still needed her to do better to succeed in the long run.
But just like last time, he's done enough to prevent what's going to happen to her if she doesn't start to lose more weight faster. So I will give her one more chance to do what she needs and improve her progress before we have to intervene to try and prevent a life-threatening situation or a medical event with her that she won't survive.
He also warned her that discipline wasn't just about the diet. It was about breaking the mindset that kept her trapped.
So if she doesn't start to do better now to change that, then either we have to take matters into our own hands or it just simply won't be much longer before she runs out of time.
If she failed again, he said plainly, he would have to take stronger action, or worse, drop her case entirely. That single warning hit her harder than any diet plan, and she knew she couldn't afford to mess it up.
I might need to go to the hospital. And on a controlled diet if I don't lose a lot more weight soon. And that I don't have a lot of time.
The idea of being admitted to a hospital away from her daughters terrified Crystal, but that fear sparked something new in her determination.
Good.
So I get the message.
Good.
I have to do this now. So there's nothing
Let's
more
go,
I can
baby.
say other than I'm gonna go and do better.
When another month passed, her progress finally started to show as Crystal moved around more easily and her breathing became slightly better, while also having a surge in her energy.
And I'm also still working on issues with Dr. Paradise. My latest homework is to start making some charts to hold myself more accountable.
Even doing chores around the house, Crystal had started to learn to take responsibility for herself, trying her best
Good.
to avoid eating food.
Feeling that
This
food
is
get
good.
me. But changing that is something I'm committed to do.
This time she was serious, fully committed to the plan and motivated by her kids' support, as even they were surprised to see her sticking to the diet.
I'm finally gonna become the mom I told them I
So-
wanted to be, so they can be kids and they don't have to worry about me and take care of me.
With 1 month left before her final weigh-in, Crystal stayed focused, channeling every bit of energy into changing
our
her
alarm.
life.
We're headed to see Dr.
Right
Now
here.
for my 4th appointment.
On our
And
shoulder.
to find out what's going to happen next for me, I guess.
We're here.
Finally, it was time to see if all her hard work had paid off, and Crystal knew she had to make it this time or things would have gotten a lot harder for her. Against all odds, she passed Dr. Now's target, and for the first time, the room filled with relief and pride. Crystal had now lost a staggering total of 114 pounds since the start of her journey.
Pretty
For the
good.
first time, it felt
Pretty
like she was
good.
going back towards fitting into everyday life the way she once couldn't.
I feel
Sorry.
really good, and I'm excited to find out what Dr. Now thinks and what he's gonna say because I told him I
114
was
pounds,
committed and I
not
told him
bad.
I was gonna do this. And I've been wanting to prove that to him since my first appointment with him.
Dr. Now entered the room with a faint look of approval on his face. He could tell something had changed.
Hello, how y'all doing?
All right, how you doing?
Good. All right. So, Crystal, you started making the progress you need.
Yes, sir.
Great. So, how do you feel?
I can definitely feel a difference in my energy level and what I can do, so I feel good.
All right. Well, I'm proud of you for figuring out what you need to do and working hard.
After months of disappointment and excuses, Crystal had finally shown real effort, and when he asked what made the difference this time, she said,
Or mad or anything like that. And I'm working with Dr. Paradise, like you said, too. And I made a chart to hold me accountable to make my diet better. So I guess all that's helping.
Great.
Crystal explained
that's a
that she finally
tattoo
learned to control her
on
cravings,
her-
that she'd
on her
stopped
arm.
giving
It's
in to
not
the
like
urge
a
to eat
bruise
for
or
comfort and
anything.
started following the plan exactly as he told her. It hadn't been easy, but she wanted to prove to herself that she could do it.
So, do you feel like you're starting to be able to control your eating habit better instead of using it to cope?
I do feel like that, and I feel like it's getting more in control.
That's when Dr. Now gave her the news she'd been waiting for.
Thankfully, we don't have to take any drastic measures with you at this point. And with your recent progress, I'm going to approve you for weight loss surgery.
Wait, are you serious?
Yes.
The words hit her like a wave. After everything she'd been through, all the failed
Good for
attempts
her.
and frustration, it finally
Good for
felt
her.
like there was light at the end of the tunnel.
To do is get off of oxygen dependence before we can move ahead. So if you can do that, we can schedule you surgery, okay?
Okay.
The only thing holding her back now was her breathing problem, but it no longer felt impossible. She just needed to stay consistent and keep losing weight and push herself until she could finally breathe on her own without that oxygen tank holding her back. As long as she kept following
her.
Dr. Now's plan, the future finally looked bright. The journey wasn't over, but the hardest part seemed behind her.
She had at the start are still there. She has made some good progress working on them, but there is still a lot of work to be done to make sure she gets to where she needs to succeed in the long term.
Even Dr. Now believed she could reach her target weight within 12 to 18 months if she stayed consistent.
And I'm proud of me too for making it this far and getting approved for weight loss surgery today.
Crystal felt her lungs getting stronger, her stamina improving. Her kids could now laugh and play with her again, something they hadn't done in years.
And I know I can do that, and it's not going to take me long, because I'm determined to keep going and make whatever progress I have to succeed and get my life back.
Though her lungs still needed help, Crystal was finally on her way, stronger, happier, and ready to keep on fighting.
But I'm being careful not to push myself too
There's
hard
a little bit left.
and try to give up the oxygen soon.
Yay, Mom!
About 30 seconds left.
But he said the best way that I could get off of it was to lose more weight. So that's my focus, but I'm also exercising every day.
Crystal used every chance to build.
Okay. Hot chili night. Sea of Sorrow. I guess it's like the DLC something. Interesting.
You describe yourself.
What is this?
Claire Obscure Expedition 33 has been one of the surprise games of 2025. People seem to absolutely love this game. It was very well received by critics and fans of the JRPG genre alike, and actually won the Game of the Year at the Jeff Keighley Awards. And it seemed like everything was
The
riding
Jeff
high
Keighley
for this
Awards.
game. It was a rousing success. It was something that people could resonate with. It kind of bucked the trend of the big video game industry with all of the overinflated budgets. A smaller team releasing a passion project at a budget price point was something that was very appealing for gamers. And the fact that it was a great game definitely helped solidify the deal. Now, I never played Expedition 33 because, I mean, I saw there was an issue with it. Like, they didn't spell check anything. There's a U in color. No, it's not color. It's color. C-O-L-O-R. So if you're not going to spell check things, you know, I'm going to wait for that to be patched out. But jokes aside, I never got around to playing the game. Maybe I will one day. Maybe I won't. But I don't even have to have played the game in order to make this video, because this video isn't even necessarily about the game itself. It's about how the internet has turned on the poster child for gaming in 2025. Smaller budgets, smaller team, budget price point of a release of a game that everyone loved to a game that a lot of people hate. And I want to talk about why this has happened, why the internet has turned their backs on this game, and just have a discussion about it. I'm not saying my opinion is correct. It's just my opinion. But as an outsider looking in, I definitely have quite a few things I would like to say about this. First time on the channel, hit that subscribe button. But let's hop into this. So where did this thing start to change for Expedition 33? What was kind of the first thing that happened that made the internet start turning their back on it? Because really, it's...
Wait a minute. Hold on. The Indie Game Awards took place on December 18th, and many kids took home the awards. Game of the Year, debut game. Over the use of generated Game Awards have a hard stance on the use of generated AI. The nomination was submitted for consideration. Representatives agree that no Gen AI was used in the game. In light of confirming the use of Gen AI in the game, the organization behind the team, Ceremony is a small crew with big ambitions. We can't wait for the... Wait, they use generative AI? That much bullshit I've ever heard. He publicly stated that they used AI like half a year ago, so the AI took our jobs. People are still working. On the organization. Wait for that. Player obscure disqualification. The awards will now go to the runner-ups. The award game goes to sorry. Wait, is this? Oh my god, it actually is true. That's crazy.
Been two specific things. And the first thing involves, the Game Awards, the Keeley Showcase. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 was up for many different awards, and at the Keeleys, it ended up winning 9 out of the 10 awards that it was nominated for. 9 awards for one single game is now the highest that a game has ever gotten, and it was a rousing success. It won all sorts of different awards, and of course, the very coveted Game of the Year award. It seemed like every time that Claire Obscure was nominated for something, one of those people in their little red French berets went up there and got the award. It should have been a raspberry beret that you got at a secondhand store. But yeah, obviously they kind of leaned into the whole oui, monsieur French thing with the attire that they were wearing. But they definitely won a lot of awards there. And at first people were like happy for them. But as time went on and they kept winning more and more and more awards, people started to sour on them. People started to have conversations about, should there be a cap? Should there be a limit on how many awards a single game could win? Because it doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem like it's something that should be allowed. And this is such a weird, multifaceted thing for me, especially as someone who, I like to look into the panel of judges on the Game Awards. And if you look into the panel of judges on the Game Awards, you see many glaring problems. A lot of these websites, especially the United States websites, the websites that are listed that maybe you're not super familiar with, that are not known for gaming content, that are part of this panel, many of them do 1 or 2 video game reviews a year. Some of them, there's been huge gaps in time where they have done any sort of video game review. Now, that's not to say that the people working for these websites haven't played the games, but they sure as hell haven't talked about them on the website they're representing. This, to me, seems more like a problem with the panelists of the Game Awards, the people that are choosing who is winning these awards, more so than the game itself. And also, why would you blame a game for being superior to other games? If a game is a cut above everything else going on, why would you hold that against it? Why would you be mad at that? Oh, this great game that I love, it won all these awards. I'm so angry. It didn't give other people a chance. This isn't participation trophies. Just by being nominated for a Game Awards is quite the, it's quite the accomplishment. that's something you can hang your hat on. Oh yeah, we were nominated for Game of the Year nomination. I don't think many people actually purchase games based on what wins at the Game Awards. Granted, it could bring some, exposure
He's
to
right
a
about
game that maybe
He's right
people
about
weren't
that.
familiar with. But at the end of the day, it's not like, well, this was the Game of the Year and I need to buy it. So why did people turn on this game for being great, winning a bunch of awards, and then that made them mad? I really think it boils down to a thing kind of like this, if I can use an analogy here. Essentially
Use
speaking,
generative AI.
when you have an artist, like a musical artist or like a certain movie or something that really resonates with you, that's kind of a little bit underground. Obviously, they have had some success. They released a film, they released an album or something like that, but it feels special to maybe you and your group of friends. It's kind of an underground, unknown thing. But then they get a bunch of critical acclaim. They release something that's commercially successful and they win all these awards. You kind of feel left behind. That special thing to you, that thing that you grew an attachment to, has now become essentially mainstream, thus losing some of its luster. I can think of a perfect example of this that, I kind of had when I was younger. And that's involving Curtis Jackson. When 50 Cent first came out on the scene, everyone thinks of the Get Rich or Die Trying album as like his first album. But if you kind of knew what was going on with him, he actually had another album before that, Guess Who's Back, which was kind of like a compilation of like his best mixtape stuff. And I actually had that album. So I was familiar with who 50 Cent was. And I was like, oh man, this guy's great. He's a great artist. These songs are awesome. Like, this is some cool stuff. So you kind of put other people onto that. But then when Get Rich or Die Trying came out, and obviously I'm in high school at this time, when you see the doctor's son, the little preppy boys and stuff like that, and now they're rocking with the album, it kind of loses a little bit of its luster. It kind of loses a little bit of its cool. It's like, well, I knew who he was before you did, but now he's this big success, and now, I'm not happy about that. But at least I was a teenager for that. Like, nowadays I like to see small things and small artists and small games become successful, especially if I like them a lot. Like, I feel like at least I've matured a little bit in that sort of regard, but a lot of people on the internet haven't. They want to have this thing and keep it to themselves and keep it to their friends, but when it gets that mainstream publicity, now all of a sudden it's a big problem. And that's kind of how I view this particular situation involving Clair Obscure Expedition 33. It was this, I wouldn't say niche game, but it definitely felt like very grassroots. It felt very low to the earth. And then to see it win all these awards and get all this critical acclaim and all of this sort of stuff, people felt a little bit burned by that. And I don't think they should. But that's not the only thing going on. Because the new thing has people in an absolute tizzy, absolutely losing their mind. And I'm just like, holy hell, man. How do you survive on the internet? Because basically what has happened now is that it has been discovered that there was some generative AI that was used in Clair Obscure Expedition 33. And if you know anything about the AI situation,
I wanted to say.
People are against it. And honestly, rightfully so. I feel AI has become this big problematic thing. And, when you're looking at things like how it's impacting, the video game industry in terms of pricing, you're now making all these AI data centers. I've talked about this a lot on different videos and how it's going to, essentially create a bit of a gaming crash that we're already seeing. The lowest system sales since November of 1995 happened in November of 2025, or 1994, I should say, happened in November of 2025. And that's a very scary thing. However, there are layers to the AI discussion, I feel. So what did they do? What happened here? Well, it's actually a bit of an older story. This was talked about months ago. But this right here, this is what you're seeing right here. This was made with generative AI. This poll that has newspapers on it was not made by a human. It was made by generative AI. Now, as the story stands, these were assets that were used back in 2022 when generative AI was first becoming a tool. Some of the people that were working on the game used generative AI to, you know, come up with something to do. It was supposed to be a placeholder. It unfortunately made it into the mainline release of the game. They have since patched it to remove the generative AI stuff from the game, and now it's not generative AI now. But because of this poll, everyone hates this game now because it's like, you use generative AI.
Is that really
this,
it? That's
that.
so
Now,
dumb.
let's go back to what I was just talking about AI, the data centers, the impact that it's going to have on the economy and,
That's the
and
dumbest
on the
shit
video game
ever.
industry, the automotive industry, the cell phone industry, the technology, any sort of technology. Pretty much every industry is going to be affected by this. Now, did the developers make AI in order to create this image? They are the ones that are building the data. No, they're not building data centers. They're simply using a tool that is now readily available. The cat is essentially out of the bag with this. You could not like AI because of the impact that it's going to have on society. But the problem is that the cat is already out of the bag. AI is already here. If you're so mad about a poll using generative AI to have a newspaper image on it, then I guess you should get rid of Twitter, where you're complaining about AI usage in here, because Twitter has Grok embedded into it, which is AI, which has generative AI. I guess you shouldn't use your cell phone. I guess you shouldn't use Google search, because Google search populates AI stuff. I guess you shouldn't watch, you know, those crappily made Suno videos that have, you know, like a cat and a dog getting along or something, because you are feeding into it. Like, why is this the line in the sand for so many people with it? Like, I don't understand. Okay, that's a very reasonable using pre-built game engines. Are you going to get mad at someone who is, you know, driving a car? Oh, driving a car? What are you talking about? I mean, don't you think the horse and buggy industry was very concerned when the Model T came along? Like, I'm sure they were. It's something that I understand the problems of it, and I understand that it's going to be potentially a very shitty situation. But the thing of it is that this is out in the open, and I'm sure every single person watching this video has used an AI thing in some way, shape, or form. Whether you realize it or not, that's your sort of thing. Have I used something like ChatGPT before? I have. I don't use it every day. I use it once in a while. But if I have a video idea and I've done the video and I can't really think of a good title, I'll put in what the video is all about, and ChatGPT will give me some ideas. Now, usually what I do is I take a look at the ideas and I kind of blend them together to make the title for the video. But I would be a hypocrite if I sat here and said that I've never used ChatGPT or any sort of generative AI. Any sort of generative AI to make a funny picture of a friend and send it to them, or a funny video of a friend and send it to them. Like, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But to sit here and say I'm never going to support anything that has generative AI, blah, 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 I feel that's very short-sighted, because I feel like every company is going to be doing that. And if anything, I would think that the smaller companies doing it wouldn't be as evil as a thing, because the smaller companies have smaller staffs. It's not like they're getting rid of people that are working on the game. It's not like they're firing an artist because they no longer need them because of things like generative.
Yeah, but generative AI is stealing from artists. They're taking shit that other people have done, and they're not getting rewarded for what they've done. Ryan.
start this now.
Is this a new level?
Oh, I thought a boss was gonna come out of that.
Wait, did Megamon get a new level? Orion. Yes, yes, you're very good. Good kitty.
I didn't know it was taking me to a new area.
Orion. Here, here. You gotta go. You gotta go,
I didn't
bro.
know it was taking me to a new area. I thought I was fighting somebody. Go into the final area with at least 1 minute remaining because you'll have to cross another platforming gauntlet. I mean, I went really early, didn't I? I went super early.
Wait, what is this? What is he
When the lights
playing?
go dark, you need to take cover inside one of the lit up lanterns. I'm just gonna go. I was gonna get that treasure chest, but... So these lanterns, I stay by these and charge them or something? So I just keep charging them? I guess. Oh, now it's gonna get dark. Oh, he's gonna be harder than I thought, huh? Oh god, it's going up. Yo, 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 I didn't know that's gonna happen.
I don't know what this is.
Probably should have been a little stronger than this, huh? Shit. God.
Why is it getting dark?
Would it be better if more were lit? Come on. Oh, it's done.
Been like fun again.
Am I like stronger if more of these are lit? Oh god.
Ooh, retail archaeology. Exploring Christmas on Main Street. Let's go.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a train station and a special Christmas edition of Retail Archaeology. In this episode, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to hop onto a train and ride it up Main Street into downtown Mesa, Arizona. Once we get into downtown, we'll hop off the train and explore Main Street. During this time of year, they do have a special holiday-themed train that plays Christmas music, and it's decorated for Christmas, and there's a Santa Claus on board, but we're just going to catch the regular Valley Metro light rail train. Most of the videos that I've done over the years have focused on malls and department stores and large retail chains, but I've never really done any videos just covering Main Street, USA, and I figured Christmas time would be a good time to do that, and Main Street in downtown Mesa I think is a pretty good analog for like Main Street anywhere in the United States. It's been a long time since I've been into downtown Mesa, and when I was younger they used to do a lot of Christmas decorating there and a lot of lights. Right here we're passing by the LDS temple that's in downtown Mesa, and you can see there are so many Christmas lights there.
Now entering Mesa Drive and Main Street, Pioneer Park, and Mesa, Arizona Temple. Doors to my left.
That is a fantastic Christmas light display. And here's the holiday train that I mentioned earlier. You can see they've got everybody dressed up as like Santa's helpers and elf costumes. That looks like a lot of fun. There's also a lot more people on that train than there are on the one that we're on. And I really like that building, how it just goes back and forth between red and green. That's
pretty
really
neat.
cool looking.
I like it. I'm a fan.
And then this is a building that I hadn't seen before. This is a newer one. This is a big ASU building. It's very pink. And there's a huge digital screen on the front of it that has the Merry Main Street logo on it.
On.
And then this building with the red and green lights up it is the new City Hall, which I think this just opened about a year ago. I hadn't seen this before either. And here's these storefronts on Main Street. We'll get a closer look at those and the Christmas displays that are in them as we kind of explore Main Street. Now it's time to hop off the train and go check out Main Street during Christmas. And here we are on Main Street, and that sunset is gorgeous.
It's a pretty sunset.
Here's a Santa on the train platform. He noticed me filming and started waving. It's been so long since I've been in downtown Mesa on Main Street that I forgot about the sculptures that are all over. This particular sculpture is called Home Delivery, and that looks like a 51-year-old paper delivery boy. But these statues have been here since the early 2000s. The artist that did this sculpture is Steven Schneider, and apparently this was donated to the city of Mesa in November of 2002 from Mr. and Mrs. R.W. Calvert family. I have no idea who that is.
2002. That was what, 23 years ago? It's ridiculous.
But there's lots of these interesting statues all over Main Street. We're not going to look at all of them. That would be kind of boring. Now this place is the Beer Research Institute Arcade, and you can hear the pinball machines in there.
I love pinball machines.
That's
Pinball
awesome.
machines are so funny.
Now there's
so
the
fun.
sounds of downtown. Car alarms and sirens. I'm sure you've noticed at this point that I left the ambient
Burrito-holics.
sound in this video. I wanted to capture as much of the downtown Main Street atmosphere as possible.
Cool.
This was a Sunday evening right after sunset, so it's not super busy down here, but there are some people out and about enjoying the unusually warm weather in December, like people at this outdoor beer garden. That actually sounds really nice, like a beer and a sausage from that little food truck. It does look like a lot of the businesses along Main Street have put Christmas lights up and things like that, but overall I would say there's a lot less Christmas
Beer
lights and
garden.
decor than I remember there being in the past. Here's another one of the many sculptures on Main Street. This one's titled Learning Together by Jeff Carroll Davenport. And the reason this one caught my eye was just because of the cap that somebody had put on the sculpture's head. I saw that from far away at first and thought, wow, that looks really realistic, but then I realized somebody had just stuck that on there. And here's something similar to a mall map that we would see in some of my other videos, but this shows the whole Merry Main Street list of events and where they are along Main Street.
Winter
And it looks
Wonderland
like they do a lot
ice
during
rink.
Christmas. That Santa Paws thing actually sounds kind of fun. I want to go play with dogs during Christmas. In the past, I remember they would have like arches of Christmas lights that went over Main Street from one side to the other. And that was really cool, but I guess they can't do that now because of the electrical lines that run up the middle of Main Street for the light rail trains. Maine Burgers. I just really like that building with the pink neon. I think they were closed for the evening though, but I do want to come back and try Maine Burgers. That's a fantastic name. And here's an old Chevy Bel Air that I saw on the side of the road. Love seeing old cars on Main Street. Not sure what year this is, but it's 1950s, I believe. Here's some interesting murals that are on the side of one of the buildings. But before we take a look at those, I saw this little placard here, and apparently this is from a City of Mesa 1967 Main Street Reconstruction and Beautification Project. I did some quick searching, and apparently that was a $2.5 million project at the time that included a lot of work to the median on Main Street, which is all gone now and been replaced with train tracks. Now, these signs pay homage to some of the old neon signs that used to be in Mesa, and the Buckhorn Baths Motel sign is actually still there, it just doesn't work anymore. But if you want to find out more about the Buckhorn Baths, I actually covered it quite a bit in a Thrifting Time episode that I did. But yeah, these are all neon signs that used to be up and down Main Street in Mesa. There are still quite a few neon signs left, including the big diving lady sign. We'll see some more actual neon signs later on in the video.
I'm a fan.
I was really enjoying exploring Main Street, but I am honestly a little bit disappointed. It seems like Christmas is pretty subdued here this year.
I think it's everywhere.
I remember there being much more grand Christmas displays on Main Street when I was younger. I also kind of remember that there was more Christmas music piped in. I actually didn't hear a lot of Christmas music this year on Main Street. A couple of businesses had some playing out of them. This is kind of a neat looking antique store. I also kind of remember there being more antique stores on Main Street, but I think that might have been the only one that I saw on this strip of Main Street that we're exploring. Yeah, like down this way, there's really no Christmas lights at all. They just have some of these banners on the light poles.
Tacos? I don't know.
Now here is the Nile Theater, and I've saw a lot of concerts at this venue over the years.
I need to go to a concert again.
I haven't been there in a long time either, though.
Been far too long.
This particular stretch of Main Street was interesting because it was a lot darker than the rest of it. Here's some big balls. Big Christmas balls.
Big balls.
This was the only intersection that had those particular decorations, and I think it's because the big downtown Mesa Christmas tree was there right across the street.
Oh.
Let's go take a closer look at that. Overall, I'd say that's a pretty nice Christmas tree.
Not bad.
Very traditional decor on it.
Red and greeny gold. Yep.
I think this is the biggest Christmas tree I've seen this year. None of the malls that I've been to this Christmas season had trees anywhere near this big. Next to the tree display is this building called the Post, which was originally a post office that was built in 1936 and then closed in 1980. And then a few years ago it was renovated and turned into an event space and city offices on top. And there was some sort of event going on in here. It was pretty busy, so I wasn't going to film in here. But then I noticed there was a slightly ajar part of the partition that was dividing up this event space, and there was a really dark area in the back with Christmas trees and lights and decor setup. Looks like for photo opportunities. But I thought this was really cool back here just because of how dark it is, and it seemed kind of weird and eerie back here.
I didn't know if that was his music or my music. That's funny. Because he didn't have music in the first half of the video. Yes, he has one.
I wonder why this wasn't part of the event that was going on next door. But yeah, you can see the partitions there, and then the little empty open spot that I noticed. Kind of feels like the Christmas level of the back rooms in here with the exposed beams and the ductwork and everything.
Get denied. Joe.
Yeah, I was enjoying these slightly creepy Christmas vibes back here. After a few minutes, an employee for the event space came in here and was like, hey, you're not supposed to be back here. So that was a good time to leave and explore the alley behind this building.
That's stupid.
All good explorers know that you should go down dark, slightly creepy looking alleys when you're exploring. See, it just looks like all kinds of neat stuff could be down there. But what I was happy to find, and where all this buzzing is coming from, is all of these neon signs that are back here behind the post building. This one's for Watson's Flowers, and unfortunately it wasn't turned on. That's from a flower store that used to be in Mesa, and the sign was built in 1955. It fell down in 2014, and then it was restored and put back here, which turns out this is a neon sign garden and is another event space that's part of the post building we're looking at.
That is super dope.
Thankfully, even though it was fenced off, I'm tall and have long arms, so we can get a closer look at some of the signs. That Dairy Queen sign is from the location that used to be next door to the temple we saw at the beginning of the video. That opened in 1949 and closed in 2018.
I like it.
Now that we're back out on Main Street, let's take a closer look at some of the storefront window Christmas displays. Main Street in a downtown area is a lot different than malls that I usually cover, and one of the things that I like about Main Street that's a little bit different is just these old style storefront windows. You don't really see the same aesthetic in malls. This one here is a store called Mad Candy, and unfortunately it was closed for the night. But that's a neat Christmas display. They've got a old school looking lit up Christmas tree, and then the Grinch sitting at a table with a bunch of candy. Something I've noticed this year is the Grinch is around a lot more than I remember him. I feel like I'm seeing the Grinch more than I see Santa Claus.
That's true. That's true.
Next door to Mad Candy is Milano's Music, which everybody who grew up in Mesa knows about Milano's Music. And this is another Grinch themed display.
They put Cindy Lou Who in jail.
I like that this one is kind of animated. Now we're back over by City Hall, and here's Hermie the Elf and Bumble the Abominable Snow Monster, which I didn't know that was his full name, over by a Christmas tree.
I did not know that
Hermes
either.
the Elf is
Fair
the
enough.
little psycho that wanted to leave Santa's workshop to follow his dreams of being a dentist. Sounds like the creepiest elf ever. And here's a closer look at that ASU building.
Hermes.
This building's called the ASU Mix Center.
Did I know that was his name? I don't.
I wonder if it ever turns any other colors besides
know.
pink. And right in front of the ASU building there is ice skating in the desert. This was a little after 7 p.m. on December 14th, and it was 70 degrees outside. And now we're back up on the train platform, waiting for the train to take us back. But we can get another look at the ice skating rink here. While I was waiting for the train on the platform, I figured I should just, you know, see what else I could see from the train platform. Besides the ice skating rink, on the other side, there's the Mesa Center for the Arts. It looks like they had a
stuff
Christmas
got
light
delivered.
display also.
I'll be right back.
And there was a little
Here.
photo.
ERB. Oh, wait. Okay, I'm back. My books and my game controller.
Co-op area that this just kind of looks a little creepy to me here with the lighting and everything. Overall, I liked Main Street for Christmas. I do wish there was more Christmas lights. However, the slight bit of quirkiness here made it fun. It was nice to visit something besides a mall during Christmas time as well. However, if that is your thing, the video that I did 2 weeks ago does cover a dying mall during Christmas. But here's our train out of downtown, so unfortunately it's time to wrap up this video. As always, thanks for watching, everyone, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you in 2026 with lots of new episodes of Retail Archaeology.
Yay! I like to see it.
Want to see your name here? Head on over to patreon.com/retailarchaeology to find out how you can help support the channel.
Let's see what else we got. Thought it was a different song. I'm gonna be real. The Grinch gets arrested for stealing Christmas and shoplifting. Okay.
Previously on Gas Station Encounters.
What'd you steal?
Steal anything. It's my winter
What
weight.
is this?
Winter weight. Where's my belly? Where's my belly? I'll give you 6 feet.
Wait, what is happening?
Honestly, I didn't mean to do that. Gotta lay low.
This is definitely scripted, right? Like, watch that. Death in 0.01 seconds while there's no survival zone. A nuclear explosion. Don't tempt me with a good time.
There is a scam call center hiding out right here at the Singh Resort in Uttar Pradesh. But today there's no trace of it, and that's because of us.
Are you staying at the Singh Resort?
Behangaland, Mother Chod.
Hi, sir. From PWV Art plus 26, Uttar Pradesh, India. That is exactly where you're from. You don't mess with me. You lying damn.
Let's go.
After this, these guys wiped all evidence of Singh Resort off the internet. But before we scared them off, we had to make a call to test if we could hack into one of their machines.
Yes, sir. This is a Microsoft customer support. How can I help you?
This is not Microsoft. It's Sam, a refund scammer that has just sent us an email with a fake charge on it. His scam group blasts out these emails to fool mainly older people, a part that we are more than willing to play.
Where you are right now?
At my
You are at your
house. I'm
home?
at my house. Where else would I be?
Okay, I got it.
Sam's goal right now is to take control of our computer. To do that, he needs the help of remote access software. So he's gonna guide us into downloading some.
Now, sir, do one thing. Open Chrome.
Okay, open Chrome on my desktop.
We follow his instructions, and eventually he has access to our system. However, we can also reverse this access to do the same. Now, both us and Sam have control of each other's computers. The only difference is we're capable of elevating ours to be, let's say, eternal.
Now what you see on the screen?
Sorry, you keep asking me what I see on what screen. Whose screen? Mine or yours? My screen or yours?
Later on, we'll show you what we can do with this. But for now, we want to waste Sam's time so he can't get on the phone with a real